Every day I'm hustling, 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 hustling. Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling.
Who is it? I hope it's not Kenji, or at least that is, or at least that it's someone I know, or this is, or this will take a turn for the weird. Hey, she's dressed. Whoever it is, it quickly slips in front of me. It's Suzune! Oh, what are you doing here? I'm so relieved that I forget to sign it. Suzune puts a finger up to her lips. I guess even though she can't hear, she has some idea of what loudness is, and can tell from my expression that I was being loud. And apparently, being loud isn't a good thing right now. But then, why is Misha here? Then why is Misha her interpreter? Oh, very funny. Why are you here?
I was waiting for you to come see. I knew you would show up. It took you a while though.
You've been waiting here?
Yes, but that isn't important. We have to be stealthy. If we don't want Misha to detect us. Tell me if I'm not being stealthy enough, okay?
With that, Suzune starts slowly tiptoeing through the middle of the hallway. Middle of the hall. I pat her on the shoulder to get her attention. That's not stealthy. Why do you have to be stealthy? Why do we have to be stealthy? She refuses to answer, probably because signing and walking stealthily at the same time doesn't look easy. Before I know it, we are in front of our homeroom. Suddenly, a sound like the crack of a whip pierces the air, followed by a familiar expression of frustration. I'm sure a sound that isn't good for my heart, but not to mention everything sounds like a million times louder with how silent it is. It's coming from inside the room, and I sidle up to Suzune to get a look inside. Ooh, hey! Muto. Fuck. Can you stop throwing your pencil, please? How do you even throw a pencil that loudly?
He looks very frustrated.
What an what an understatement. I sympathize with Mutao, whatever. I was able to hear Misha's pen break the sound barrier, even though a wall and a thick classroom door. It probably blew out this eardrum and left an imprint on the wall.
I'm not throwing it. When I get nervous, I like to spin it around, but then I forget I'm holding onto it, and
it doesn't matter. Either way, there shouldn't be pencils flying around. I get enough of that during regular school hours. I don't need it after hours.
Right, sorry.
Whatever, just stop throwing or releasing or dropping things, please. Teachers have work to do. I know Suzune watching the same scene I am. Matao is yelling at the top of his lungs, and Misha is being Misha. I can hear them reasonably well, though, through the door. Wow. But Suzune obviously can't hear anything at all. So I wonder what watching this is like for her. She must know, since she understands well enough to want me to see it too. But I have to wonder if she ever feels like she's missing out on something, having to work that much harder to understand what she's observing.
It looks like she's taking a supplementary lesson, isn't she? Is she? Yeah.
Yeah. I answer despite knowing the question is completely rhetorical.
Misha told me she really wants to be a sign language teacher in the future. If she can get a recommendation, she can study overseas for it. That is why she is working so hard. Her grades were always kind of on the low side.
Now I feel guilty. I hadn't even thought about how I'm going to what I'm going to do yet.
Never have I.
The cheerful way she signs it is way... Weird. I thought I heard something. Cheerful way that she signs it is very unlikely, like her, and is obviously false.
Let's get out of here. We don't want to be seen. It would be a problem if we were caught standing out here like idiots.
Where? The student council room? Shaking her head, she slips into the classroom across the hall instead. Great hiding place.
You're usually sarcastic lately. You're unusually sarcastic lately. With the door closed, it's a good one anyway. Wasn't it interesting?
Yes, but I'm not really surprised. I closed the door behind us, prompting Suzune to laugh soundless as she slides into a chair. For a second, it depresses me. I want to hear her real laugh.
I've been looking down on Misha. I didn't think she had a goal at all. But it turns out I was wrong. I made a careless assumption. I thought Misha was as aimless as I was. I was stupid. I lost.
Suzune pauses to crack her knuckles, then folds her hands over at each other, and leans forward in her chair in the abnormal quiet of the building. I can hear Mattel yelling at Misha again, even across the hallway and through 2 doors. Suzune's eyes are locked on mine. I'm blinking behind the gleaming lenses of her glasses, observing my reactions to her words. This is a test. Her opinion of people is rarely formed from how they respond to questions. It's how they respond to the statement that counts. In hindsight, it makes sense. Suzune unable to speak, as well as just her personality in general, means that anything she says is a big compliment on her part. Everything. For the reason I sometimes doubt she says anything without a hidden agenda behind it. That sounds remarkably paranoid. Even Kenji would think so. Unfortunately, I'm so caught up in thinking about it that I forget to give her an answer. She takes it as there is not being one. There was an invisible time limit to this test, shorter than usual.
Just as I thought.
What do you mean?
Don't you agree?
Not really. It's not that I don't get it.
I want to force my will on people.
How refreshingly honest.
don't give me a weird look like that. It's not like that was always my intention. At first, I was just bored. I wanted to see people's passion for something. Then I could try and beat them. I wanted to test their ability for their convictions. But it was impossible, for no one has any passion for anything in the school. They just want to keep to themselves. I can't believe it. It's too boring that way. I thought that there was no way these drab people could be for real. It goes beyond not wanting to make waves. They had to have some interests. They had to be hiding something. I wanted to expose it and reveal it and drag it out. One of the most successful ways to get people to open up to you and cheer them up is to open up with a story about yourself. And then you ease them into telling you about themselves. It's like give and take, but with an element of manipulation, which makes it interesting. I can't do that. If I attempt to have Misha talk about me for me, it makes me seem arrogant. The message has to go through a messenger. I'm standing next to Misha telling her to tell someone about me. You don't have to be able to read sign language to see that. If I were focused to sit through that, I would think I was arrogant too. I was frustrated. I couldn't figure out a way to have a conversation with anyone but Misha. No one would open up to me. I came to a conclusion that I can't make people confide in me or believe in me. I can only hope to create things and show them to people and hope they make them happy. Or I could be more forceful and hope it would eventually stick to someone.
I guess that would be me. Feels vaguely depressing.
Somewhere along the line, I think I started to ignore Misha, or seeing her as less of a person, or something like that. I took her for granted. I think I would be a best way to put it. It was like she was just an extension of myself.
Yeah, I can see that.
I forgot that the whole time Misha was there, opening up to me and giving 100% every day. I missed that. I missed what I was looking for, because it was in plain sight. How stupid of me. I really did become arrogant. That's why I've lost. I'm more short-sighted than I was back then. I went in reverse.
She paced back and forth now, almost brooding, yet still filled with so much energy that she can't stand to stop moving. If you got her to hold 2 wires, I'm sure Suzune could power a light bulb. It's odd that I could have such a light-hearted thought while she's being so serious.
In spite of that, Misha tells me that I'm her inspiration. Isn't that ridiculous? I'm not the kind of person who can inspire others. Even if a person who inspires you is flawed, it can be acceptable. I've thought about this. There's even acceptable hypocrisy. For instance, if your hero was an athlete, but unsportsmanlike, they could still be respected for their athletic ability, even if they had shortcomings as a person. However, she snaps her fingers briskly. It sounds like a thunderclap in an empty room. And Suzune takes a few seconds to stretch her fingers. Come to think of it, this is the most she has ever signed. If someone like me has no goal, it would be totally unacceptable. It'd be the worst kind of hypocrisy. Hypocrites don't deserve responsibility over anything they can't even manage themselves. How incredibly pessimistic. It makes me angry to think about it. I would hate myself just a few months ago. This must be how I look to others. And funny enough, it was Suzune and Misha who convinced me to stop. Without them, I'm sure things would be much different. And not for the better. Lately, I feel as though we passed through our miseries as much as we are supported by each other. But I think it it just comes with the territory of having friends and being close to someone. You're the leader anyway. That is only because no one else wants to be. But that means you still are, since people are putting their trust in you anyway. In fact, doesn't that make it more important? Either way, you are the leader. You are the inspirational figure, or whatever you want to call it. You're responsible for what you tame. I read that in a book somewhere. That's clever. Suzune only seems to show what she feels in her face when she wants to, but I don't think she's being sarcastic. I don't want to tame anyone, though. Being the leader is being looked up to, then. Same thing. I never wanted to be the leader. It just ends up that way. I don't believe that. All you do is try to grab more and more responsibility. Wait. I wasn't going to tell you that. I don't enjoy it. I don't care about being the leader. But I don't mind. I don't care about being the best, but I don't mind. You're right, though, about me wanting responsibility. Of course, I want more responsibility. Having responsibility makes me feel alive. That's why I wanted to join student council. If there is no pressure, I just can't stand it. Even so, now I'm the leader. I always thought being the leader meant to give orders. Not to really, but it really is more. It's about having a goal. If I don't have a goal, then it's pointless. People would only be following me for my own enjoyment. It would be selfish. Damn. Suzune, 2014. It's a strangely moral point of view for a person who seems to love one-upping others so much. Resting her chin on her tented fingers, Suzune looks disarmingly childish as she thinks hard about her problem. The expression on her face is a little more comical because it's too obvious, and therefore very unlike her.
it comes with a job. I think you'd have to be the leader. Have to be a leader. You wouldn't be satisfied with any. That sounds good. With anything else.